My friends, there comes a time in life when the lights go out. The path grows dim and the shadows creep in, whispering doubt, fear, and despair. It's in these moments that we're tempted to sit in silence, to lose our voice, to succumb to the weight of our trials. But I came here to remind you today, even in the darkest hour, you still have a song. There's something extraordinary about a song that rises in the silence. It's not just a collection of words set to a melody. It's a declaration, a weapon, and a lifeline. In moments when the world feels heavy, when circumstances seem unbearable, and when the silence of despair threatens to swallow us whole, a song has the power to disrupt the darkness. It isn't bound by time or place, nor does it require perfect conditions to be sung. A song in the silence is birthed out of something deeper than convenience or comfort. It's born out of conviction. Silence can be intimidating. It amplifies the noise within, the doubts, fears, and insecurities that whisper in the stillness of the night. It's in those quiet moments when the weight of unanswered questions, unresolved pain, and unrelenting struggles feels most suffocating. But a song has the power to shift the atmosphere. It pierces through the silence, breaking the monotony of despair and inviting hope into the space where hopelessness once reigned. A song in the silence doesn't deny the reality of the darkness. Instead, it acknowledges it and chooses to rise above it. It declares, I see the storm, but I refuse to let it silence my praise. It's a refusal to give in, a bold act of defiance against fear and despair. Even when the words tremble and the melody falters, the act of singing itself becomes an affirmation of faith. It says, I believe there is more to my story than what I see right now. The power of a song lies in its ability to connect us to something greater than ourselves. It lifts our perspective, shifting our gaze from the weight of our circumstances to the promise of what lies ahead. A song can remind us of who we are and, more importantly, whose we are. It calls to mind truths that silence tries to erase, that we are not alone, that we are loved, and that there is hope even in the darkest of nights. And there's something transformative about the act of singing in itself. When the voice rises, even in a whisper, it stirs something within. It creates a spark where there was none, a small flame of courage that begins to grow with each note. Singing in the silence is not just about sound, it's about substance. It's about choosing to believe in the unseen, to trust in the process, and to release a cry of faith that resonates far beyond the walls of our circumstances. This kind of song doesn't require an audience, a stage, or even a tune. It requires a heart that refuses to be silenced. It's a song that says, I may not have all the answers, but I know the one who holds them. I may not see the light yet, but I know it's coming. It's in the silence. When the world grows quiet and the soul feels weary, that the power of a song becomes most evident, reminding us that even in the darkest moments, we still have a voice. Darkness has a way of making us feel like it's all over. It wraps itself around us, whispering lies that this is where the story ends. It tells us that the pain will never pass, that the struggle will never ease, and that the light we once knew is gone for good. But darkness is a deceiver, a temporary shadow that masquerades as permanence. It wants you to believe that this is the final chapter, but the truth is, darkness is never the end. When we think of darkness, we often associate it with endings, endings of seasons, relationships, dreams, or hope. But darkness is not an end, it is a transition. It's a space where things are being worked out, where growth happens, where transformation begins. Just like the seed that lies buried in the soil, hidden from sight, the darkness is where life begins to take root. The seed doesn't fight the darkness. It trusts the process, knowing that it's preparing for a breakthrough. Darkness has a purpose. Even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, it can feel isolating, heavy, and endless, but it's often in the darkest moments that we are being stretched and prepared for what's ahead. Think about the night sky. It's only in the dark that the stars reveal their brilliance. And it's only in the dark that we learn to rely not on what we can see, but on what we can trust. The truth is, darkness isn't void of meaning. It's often the place where our faith is tested and strengthened. It strips away distractions, forcing us to confront what's inside of us. It's in the darkness that we discover what we're really made of. It's where we develop resilience, courage, and the ability to press forward even when we don't have all the answers. The absence of visible light doesn't mean the absence of progress. Sometimes the most profound work happens in unseen places. What makes darkness so intimidating is that it disrupts our sense of control. We can't see what's ahead. We don't know how long it will last, and we feel powerless to change it. But here's the truth. The darkness may feel out of control, but it is never beyond the reach of the one who controls it. The same power that spoke light into existence still reigns over the shadows. The darkness must obey the voice of the one who created it. It's important to remember that every season of darkness has an expiration date. Just as night always gives way to morning, your dark season will eventually transition into light. The key is to keep moving, to keep pressing forward, even when the way isn't clear. The end is not defined by what you feel in the moment. Darkness can feel final, but it's really a precursor to the next phase of your journey. It's the space where new beginnings are born, where purpose is refined, and where hope is made stronger. Faith that defies circumstance is not an ordinary faith. It is a faith that looks beyond what is visible, that refuses to be confined by the limits of the moment. It is a faith that stands tall in the face of adversity, that whispers hope when everything around it screams despair. This kind of faith doesn't wait for ideal conditions to believe. Instead, it chooses to believe even when the evidence says otherwise. Nor does it crumble under the weight of disappointment. It's the kind of faith that declares, even though I can't see the outcome, I trust the process. Even though I don't understand the reason, I trust the purpose. It doesn't ignore reality. It simply refuses to be ruled by it. Circumstances will try to dictate your response. They'll try to convince you that the struggle is too great, that the mountain is too high, and that the valley is too deep. But faith that defies circumstance doesn't bend to the pressure. It chooses to rise above what the eyes can see and believe in what the heart knows to be true. It is grounded not in fleeting emotions, but in unshakable truths. Think about the stories of those who have demonstrated this kind of faith. It's the faith of someone standing in the middle of a storm, proclaiming that the sun will shine again. It's the faith of someone walking through the fire, declaring that they won't come out burned. It's the faith of those who, like Abraham, believed in promises yet unseen, trusting that what was spoken would come to pass. This faith doesn't need all the answers because it knows the one who holds them. Faith that defies circumstance is rooted in a deeper understanding of who we are and who we belong to. It recognizes that circumstances are temporary, but purpose is eternal. It knows that while the situation may feel overwhelming, there is a greater plan at work. This kind of faith draws strength, not from what is seen, but from the assurance that even in chaos, there is order being established. What makes this faith so powerful is its ability to transform our perspective. When we walk by faith and not by sight, we begin to see possibilities where others see impossibilities. We begin to move with confidence even when the path ahead is unclear. Faith lifts our eyes from the problem and sets them on the promise. It reminds us that circumstances don't define our destiny, they refine it. This faith becomes a testimony not just for us, but for those around us. When others see a faith that refuses to give in, it inspires them to hold on a little longer, to believe a little deeper, and to trust that their story isn't over. Faith that defies circumstance is more than just belief. It's a declaration that the present moment does not have the final say. It's a refusal to be bound by the temporary and a bold step into the eternal. Gratitude in adversity is not an easy concept to embrace. It requires us to look beyond the pain, the challenges, and the disappointments and search for the hidden gifts buried within our trials. It's not about denying the difficulty of the moment, but about choosing to see the good that can still be found even when life feels overwhelmingly hard. Gratitude in adversity is a powerful act of resilience, a declaration that hardship will not rob us of the ability to recognize the blessings that remain. Adversity often narrows our vision. When we're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to focus only on what's going wrong, the losses, the setbacks, the frustrations. But gratitude has the power to widen our perspective. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we still have. It reminds us that gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it does create space for hope. There's a transformative power in gratitude that goes beyond the surface. When we choose to be thankful, we're not just acknowledging the good, we're actively resisting the pull of despair. Gratitude changes how we think and how we feel. It breaks the grip of negativity and opens the door for joy to enter, even in the midst of hardship. It reminds us that our trials don't have the power to steal our ability to appreciate life's gifts. Gratitude in adversity also has a way of shifting the narrative. It helps us see our challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. When we're grateful, we start to recognize the strength we're building, the wisdom we're gaining, and the perseverance we're developing through our struggles. Gratitude reframes adversity as a teacher, showing us that even the hardest seasons, there's something valuable to be learned. It's important to understand that gratitude in adversity isn't about minimizing the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding a balance between acknowledging the difficulty of the situation and appreciating the moments of light that still exist. Gratitude gives us the strength to keep moving forward. It reminds us that the story isn't over, that there's still more to come, and that even in the darkness, there's a reason to hope. Gratitude has a ripple effect. When we practice it in adversity, it impacts not only us, but also those around us. Our ability to remain thankful in tough times becomes a source of encouragement for others. It shows them that it's possible to find beauty in brokenness, to see possibility in hardship, and to hold on to joy even in the face of struggle. Gratitude in adversity becomes a beacon of light, proving that while circumstances may be hard, the human spirit has the power to rise above them with grace and resilience. Courage to keep moving forward is not the absence of fear, but the decision to take a step despite it. It's the resolve to rise each day, knowing that the path ahead may still be difficult, but refusing to be paralyzed by the challenges. Courage is not always bold or loud. Sometimes it is quiet and steady, a determination that whispers, "I will not quit." It's the ability to press on when the weight of life feels too heavy, trusting that every step forward is a step closer to breakthrough. Life has a way of testing our resolve. There are seasons when the obstacles seem insurmountable, when the road feels too long and the journey appears endless. In those moments, courage doesn't come from an assurance that everything will instantly change. It comes from the belief that progress is still possible, even if it's slow. It's understanding that setbacks are not the end, but a part of the process. Courage is what allows us to keep going, to get up one more time, and to refuse to let defeat have the final say. What makes courage so powerful is its ability to defy the voice of doubt. Doubt will tell you that you're not strong enough, that you failed too many times, or that you'll never reach the other side. But courage answers back, saying, "I may not know how this will end, but I won't stop moving forward." It silences the inner critic and replaces it with a quiet confidence that says, "I've made it this far, I can take one more step." Courage is often born in the midst of struggle, is forged in the fire of adversity, where we learn that strength isn't about having all the answers, but about showing up anyway. It's in the moments when we feel the most uncertain, the most vulnerable, that courage reveals itself. It doesn't require us to eliminate our fears, it requires us to act in spite of them. And with each act of courage, we grow stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Sometimes courage is as simple as refusing to stop. It's waking up and choosing to try again. It's reaching out for help when pride says to suffer in silence. It's forgiving yourself for past mistakes and daring to dream again. Courage doesn't need grand gestures. It's found in the small, consistent steps that push us forward, even when progress feels invisible. And the beauty of courage is that it creates momentum. With each step we take, we gain a little more strength, a little more clarity, and a little more hope. What once felt impossible begins to feel achievable. The very act of moving forward, no matter how slowly, proves to us that we are capable of more than we thought. Courage teaches us that the journey is not just about the destination. It's about becoming stronger, braver, and wiser with every step. Your song, the unique melody of your life, has a profound impact on those around you. It's not just the notes you sing in joy, but the ones you find the strength to sing in sorrow, in struggle, and in uncertainty. Whether you realize it or not, your song carries power. It resonates beyond your immediate experience, reaching hearts and lives in ways you may never fully see. And your song is not just for you, it is a lifeline for others, a beacon of hope that reminds them they are not alone in their own battles. In life, we all encounter seasons where the weight of the world feels unbearable. For some, these seasons are marked by silence, a sense of isolation that convinces them no one understands their pain. But when you find the courage to lift your voice in the midst of your own trials, it sends a powerful message that even in brokenness there is beauty, even in despair there is hope. Your willingness to sing in your dark places gives others permission to do the same. People are watching you, often more closely than you think. They're looking for evidence that it's possible to endure, to rise, and to keep moving forward. When they see you refusing to let life's challenges silence you, it stirs something within them. It reminds them that their struggles do not define them, and that their own voice, however faint it may seem, still has value. Your song becomes a testimony, a living, breathing example that strength and vulnerability can coexist, and that there is always a reason to hope. Your song doesn't have to be perfect to inspire. In fact, it's often the imperfections, the rawness, and the honesty that make it most powerful. People don't need to hear a flawless melody. They need to hear something real. They need to know that you faced storms and yet found a way to keep singing. It's your authenticity that resonates. Your willingness to share not just your victories, but also your struggles. Now, in doing so, you show others that they don't have to wait for their situation to improve before they can lift their own voice. What's remarkable about your song is that its impact is far-reaching. You may never fully understand the ripple effect of your courage. A single note of hope, a single act of resilience can spark a chain reaction in the lives of others. Your song might inspire someone to take one more step, to try one more time, or to believe in themselves again. It might remind someone who feels invisible that their story matters and that they too have a song worth singing. When you choose to sing, you give others permission to find their own voice. You remind them that even in life's darkest moments, there is light to be found. Your song is a gift, not just to yourself, but to the world. And as it echoes in the hearts of those who hear it, it carries a message of hope, resilience, and the unshakable truth that no matter how difficult the journey, there is always a reason to sing.